This is Margin Machine, where we follow the money behind AI. Right now, some of the most powerful law firms on earth are reportedly paying up to $288,000 a year for a single piece of software, and they're not complaining about the price. They're fighting each other to get access. The company behind it is called Harvey. It was founded barely 4 years ago, and this spring it raised $200 million at an $11 billion valuation. $11 billion, for a startup selling AI to lawyers, the one profession everyone swore would be the last to ever trust a machine. But here's what makes this story worth your next 10 minutes. Harvey's product quietly attacks the billable hour, the exact business model that makes its own customers rich. Law firms are paying millions, collectively, for a tool that could shrink the very thing they sell. That sounds insane. It isn't. And once you see why, you'll understand where the real money in AI is actually being made. Let's follow it. Harvey started in 2022 with a founding team that sounds like the setup to a joke. A junior lawyer and an AI researcher walk into a startup. Winston Weinberg was an associate at a major law firm, grinding through the exact document-heavy work that burns out young attorneys. Gabriel Pereira was a research scientist who had worked on large language models at places like DeepMind and Meta. Weinberg's insight was almost embarrassingly simple: a huge share of what elite lawyers bill for isn't courtroom brilliance. It's reading, summarizing, drafting, and cross-referencing enormous piles of text. And by 2022, large language models have become shockingly good at exactly that. The two of them built an assistant tool for legal work and got an early, crucial vote of confidence, backing from the OpenAI startup fund, which gave them both capital and deep access to frontier models before most of the world had even tried ChatGPT. But access to models was never the real moat. Plenty of startups had that. What Harvey had was a founder who spoke fluent lawyer, who knew the workflows, the paranoia about confidentiality, and the politics of a law firm partnership. That cultural fluency, more than the technology, is what opened doors that stayed closed to everyone else. To understand why Harvey grew so fast, you have to understand the strange economics of elite law. Top firms bill partners out at over $1,000 an hour. Even first-year associates, 25-year-olds a few months out of school, can be billed to clients at $400 to $700 an hour. And what are those expensive hours spent on? Due diligence. Contract review. Research memos. Discovery. In other words, reading and writing at industrial scale. That makes legal work arguably the highest value text processing market on the planet. If an AI saves a software engineer an hour, that's maybe $100 of value. If it saves a team of associates 1,000 hours on a merger, that's potentially hundreds of thousands of dollars on a single deal. The willingness to pay is enormous, which is why Harvey can reportedly charge enterprise deals that run into the hundreds of thousands per year. One analysis put larger deployments at around $288,000 annually, and firms sign anyway. High stakes, high margins, and clients who are professionally terrified of falling behind their rivals. If you were designing the perfect customer for AI software in a lab, you would design a corporate law firm. Now let's follow the actual numbers, because the trajectory here is absurd even by AI standards. Based on reporting from Sacra and others, Harvey's annual recurring revenue went from roughly $10 million in 2023, to around $50 million in 2024, to about $100 million in 2025. By the time it raised in March of this year, revenue was reportedly approaching $200 million, and by mid-2026 some estimates put it around $300 million in ARR. The valuation ladder climbed even faster, $1.5 billion in mid-2024, $3 billion in early 2025, $8 billion by December, and then, just 3 months later, $11 billion in a round led by Sequoia and Singapore's sovereign wealth fund GIC. Read that timeline again, $3 billion of paper value added in a single quarter. Today Harvey says its tools are used by over 100,000 lawyers across more than 1,300 organizations, including most of the Am Law 100, the ranking of America's biggest firms, plus giants like PwC on the professional services side. Total capital raised, north of $1.2 billion. For a company whose product, 4 years ago, did not exist. But here's the part nobody mentions when they celebrate those numbers. Law firms make money by selling hours. Harvey's entire pitch is that it eliminates hours. So why would a firm pay 6 figures a year to shrink its own product? This is the paradox at the heart of the whole legal AI boom. and the answer reveals how disruption actually works. First, clients forced the issue. General counsels at big corporations saw what AI could do and started asking their law firms, sometimes in writing, why they were still being billed 1,000 associate hours for work a machine could draft in an afternoon. Refusing to adopt AI stopped being a way to protect revenue and became a way to lose clients. Second, the arms race kicked in. Once a handful of elite firms announced Harvey deployments, every rival firm faced a brutal choice: match them, or walk into client pitches as the technologically backward option. And third, this is the subtle one, partners realized AI might not shrink the pie at all. If routine work gets cheaper, firms can take on more matters, push into fixed-fee deals with fat margins, and let expensive humans focus on the judgment calls clients will always pay a premium for. The firms aren't paying Harvey to destroy the billable hour. They're paying to control how it dies. Of course, there's a skeptical read on all of this, and it deserves airtime. Harvey is built substantially on top of frontier models from labs like OpenAI. So the uncomfortable question is the same one that haunts every application layer AI company: is this an $11 billion business, or an extremely well-dressed rapper? The bear case says model providers could go after legal workflows directly, and that competition is already stacking up, most notably Legora, a Swedish rival that has reportedly reached a $5.5 billion valuation and is winning firms in Europe and beyond, often at more aggressive prices. The bull case says the model was never the moat. Harvey's defensibility lives in the boring stuff: security certifications, integrations with the document systems firms already use, workflows tuned to how a merger or a litigation actually runs, and, most of all, trust. Selling to law firms takes years of relationship building, reference customers, and confidentiality guarantees that a general-purpose chatbot simply can't offer. That enterprise sales machine, plus usage data from over 100,000 lawyers, compounds in a way raw model access doesn't. Which side is right probably determines whether that $11 billion price tag looks visionary or delusional in 3 years. So what's the real lesson from Harvey, the one you can actually use? It's this: the biggest AI fortunes right now are not being made by building smarter models. They're being made by taking existing intelligence and aiming it at industries where an hour of human time is spectacularly expensive. Legal, accounting, medicine, investment banking. Harvey didn't out-research the AI labs, it out-understood a market. It knew that in a world where every firm fears being the last to adapt, fear itself becomes the sales engine, and that when your customer bills $1,000 an hour, even an insanely priced subscription looks cheap. That's the margin. Machine hiding inside this story: value-based pricing on top of commodity intelligence. And that playbook is still wide open in 100 other industries. If you're enjoying these breakdowns of where the AI money actually flows, subscribe, there's a new case study here every day. But before you go, Harvey's biggest threat may not be Legora or even OpenAI. It's a shift in how law firms charge clients that could quietly reprice the entire legal industry, and one AI company is already positioned to capture it. If you want to know which company that is and how the fixed-fee revolution pays, click the video on your screen right now.